Well, hi there. Welcome to TudelaPlays, which is also TudelaLearns, because I'm going to be trying to learn game development. I have been trying to get into game development for a while, almost a year now, and I really haven't. it, there's a lot of theory and there's a lot of fun things to do, but there's also a really high skill cap, which I'm with the repercussions of my previous life decisions, such as studying economics instead of computer science. It's not that easy to find time, but now I'm doing that. And I think the best way to do it is by sharing it with people on the internet, which might also be interested in at least hearing someone butcher the English in some of, I think, some great books. So I'm just gonna do that. Um, Today I'm gonna be starting with game thinking, innovate and smarter, and drive deep engagement with design techniques from hit games, um, which I found on Amazon. It seems like a really good book. I'm gonna be exploring a lot of books, so come join me if you want to learn something about gaming, or just want to see someone trying to learn and frustrate himself while doing so. Yeah, I'm a slow learner, so yeah, this is gonna take a while, but I'm doing it on the internet, so that's gonna be worth it. Okay, so foreword by Ralph Coaster, game designer, author of A Theory of Fun. Making stuff is hard. We all know it. First, you aren't sure what to make, then you start making it and you're convinced it's right, then it's all wrong. And you go back and forth right up until a terrifying moment when you put it in front of someone else. And they hate it or love it. Or worse, they're indifferent. Oh yeah, indifference is really worse. Oh, yeah. Yep, that explains a lot for me. That painful middle ground where you don't elicit any strong emotions at all. That's the moment when you sit back and wonder to yourself, what could I have done differently? Amy Jo Kim has an answer for that, and it's this book. It's nothing less than what you could have done it differently, laid out in concise, clear language, with diagrams, case studies, and processes. I come from the world of games, and Amy Jo labels this approach game thinking. Oh, I could only wish that all of our projects use a process like what she describes here. She calls it that because it is inspired by the way in which we game designers think of players and their journeys, as a process of learning, guided by feedback, of hobby and habit building, a process of getting players to care. In games, we don't have any utility to offer, you see. We just offer respite, enjoyment, a break from a busy day. We don't have usefulness on our side, unlike most products. We have to rely on the real fundamentals. Why does a human like something? Why does a human return to something? Why do they care? We design to elicit that caring, that emotional attachment. Oh, that's really what game thinking is about. It begins by pushing you to look at what your users actually care about through its process of interviews and job stories. It asks you to listen, really listen, when users tell you what problems they have and what solutions they wish were out there. It does away with horror generalizations and made up personas and goes right to the people most likely to want a solution from you, and teaches you, the designer, how to ask the right questions. Then the book proceeds to guide you through the process of making that solution in the right order, validating and confirming your premises along the way, pushing you toward a design that's about the player growing, changing, learning through use of your product. In games, we almost take that for granted. We just know that someone who starts out in a game has a lot to learn and that By the end, they will be jumping, twirling, dodging, building and trading like crazy, juggling a dense panoply of systems and intricacies. So we design for it. We build that journey into the very shape of the product, with levels and learnings that unfold as the player reaches the right competencies. It's not easy, but we do it a lot. So much that we often don't even talk about it. That may be why everyone seems to get what we do so wrong. These days, when everybody sprinkles badges and points on top of everything, it may seem a little late to say, "You've all missed a point." Because game designers don't design badges and point systems. That's not the heart of what we do. We build systems that teach you themselves. We build systems that enable people to do things they didn't think they could do. Whether it's drive a race car, score a goal in the World Cup, or blast an alien monster in the face. What we do is build systems that unveil possibility. Points and badges and the rest are just markers along the way and never the goal. Wouldn't it be nice if the systems that product... I'm gonna change this just a little bit. Yeah. I'm sorry, technical problems over here. Oh no, I needed to go the other way around. Sorry again. Oh yeah, sorry man. I'm passing by. Don't worry about me. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't care about the window. Yeah, no worries about the window. Now it's closed. Yeah, I need to be here. Okay. Wouldn't it be nice if the systems, the products, the services we use today were about that? About unveiling possibility, meeting needs, about putting the users before the bland and vague ideological mission, above the endless metrics, about enabling people to do what they didn't think they could do, about expanding what was possible. If it isn't only about what you do, could be doing differently. It's about your customers, your users, your clients could be doing differently. It's about creating real value, not just using parasitic means of extracting revenue. In the end, when we make games, we're working to bring more joy into the world. That's too big a task to be left us only to us game folk. It should be part and parcel of every design. That's what game thinking can really mean. And that's what Amy Jo is documenting in this book. A method aimed at creating that core satisfaction a player feels when they return to their partner and say, "Whoa, that was great." So here it is. What you can do differently to make a real difference. Oh, I like that. Introduction. What do the teams behind Breakout products have in common? How can we follow their footsteps? Just 1 second. Why not? This year, many innovative new products and services will launch, but only a handful will earn long-term success. Most will fail before they even get the chance. Why is that? What do teams that produce breakout products have in common? Can we follow in their footsteps and reliably increase our odds of doing the same? I say yes. Oh. Let me take you back to a beautiful September day in Half Moon Bay, California. I was sitting in my living room, listening to the brilliant CEO of a hot gaming startup pitch me his idea for a social game where people with no musical talent will play plastic instruments and feel as if they were playing in a band. I joined the team, and that crazy idea turned into Rock Band. a genre-defining worldwide hit. Later, I worked on The Sims with Will Wright, a visionary game designer with some unorthodox methods for unlocking creativity. That project almost got cancelled a few weeks before shipping, and then went out to become the biggest selling PC game franchise of all times. A few years after that, I worked on Covet Fashion, an innovative mobile game that incorporates high fashion clothing from real world brands. What we built was different than our original idea, and we weren't sure how it would work out. That game became an evergreen hit franchise that enables millions of players to create fabulous outfits from designer collections and even purchase those clothes in real life. Lessons from gaming. How do hit games grab people's attentions and keep them coming back? What makes an experience truly engaging over time? I've worked on massive hit games that reached millions of people, yet none of these games appeal to everyone. Statistically, people seek out a wide variety of experiences. While I enjoy Rock Band and Covet Fashion, my son prefers adrenaline pumping shooters, and my best friend is addicted to candy coated puzzlers. One person's beloved game is another's worst nightmare. Set up the conditions for flow. Successful games all have something in common: the intrinsic joy of skill building. It feels good to engage our brains, improve our skill, and make progress along a path toward mastery. Games, sports, and education are particularly good at laying out this path, but every product leader can learn to harness the underlying power of skill building each challenge. Structured activities like games, sports, office work, and fundraising all revolve around developing and using a skill. If the level of challenge increases to match your evolving skill, you've got a setup for flow, the ultimate goal of every game and product designer. Flow is not about making things easy or gamified. Flow takes effort. Without learning, practice, and challenge, there is no flow. At their core, games are pleasurable learning engines that deliver an experience that's deeply, intrinsically motivating. Over time, you absorb the rules, build your skills, tackle ever greater challenges, and in the process, you're transformed in some way that's meaningful to you. Forget points. Think character transformation. Just as character transformation is the backbone of great drama, personal transformation is the backbone of great gameplay. In games, we are the protagonist, the person with agency, facing a series of choices and challenges along our journey towards mastery. Progress metrics like points, budgets, levels, and leaderboards and reputation systems are icing on this learning mastery cake. These markers help you gauge where you stand and how far you've come, but they are meaningless as a standalone system without something to master. If you want to build a compelling product experience, forget points. Think character transformation. Nice. Blend intrinsic pleasure with extrinsic scaffolding. Games are built from systems and rules that engage you in a micro world, a magic circle that's shared by everyone playing the game. In a magic circle, ordinary activities take on special meaning. Throwing a ball into a net becomes scoring a goal. Well-crafted games are an artful blend of intrinsic pleasure and extrinsic scaffolding. They invite you to take a mini break from your daily life and spend time together in an alternate, simplified reality. Pleasurable activities are the beating heart of this micro world, and progress scaffolding points, levels, badges, power-ups, serves to support and amplify these core activities. The trinity of intrinsic motivation. To create a truly compelling experience, tap into the trinity of increasing motivation: autonomy, mastering, and purpose. This framework emerged during the 1970s as self-determination theory and was repopularized in Dan Pink's book Drive on workplace motivation. To avoid the trap of short-term engagement, use these three universal drives as a starting point when you're designing feedback and rewards for your experience. We'll cover that in section 3, design. I'll refer to these intrinsic drives throughout this handbook. Look for the Trinity symbol to guide your way. Autonomy, self-determination, and meaningful choice. Wait. Autonomy, mastery, purpose. 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 Cool. Autonomy, self-determination, and meaningful choice. Autonomy is a feeling of controlling your own destiny. In a game, app, or service, this boils down to how and when you offer choices. Great games offer meaningful choices with interesting constraints. Think of Settlers of Catan, World of Warcraft, Minecraft, even Kickstarters. All systems that can be explored and mastered by following your interests and making a series of increasingly interesting choices. Mastery, skill building, feedback, and challenge. Mastery taps into the feeling of getting better at something. Games offer the player a set of actions and choices within a constrained, rule-based environment. In a great game, mastering the rule set is deeply pressurable. The lack of anything to master is often why simple gamification fails. Points, badges, and leaderboards aren't compelling unless you're improving along some personally meaningful dimension. Purpose. Connect with something greater than yourself. Purpose is about connectedness and relatedness with other people, with a shared cause, with something bigger than yourself. Numerous studies show us that people who cultivate meaningful relationships report higher levels of happiness. Purpose is often communicated through storytelling, and you know what? The most powerful story is happening inside your customer's head. A personal narrative of how engaging with your product will transform them into more powerful, more skillful, more connected version of themselves. Game design is not loyalty marketing. Digging into intrinsic motivation will help you design compelling experiences and avoid some common pitfalls of gamification. Progress metrics like points, badges, and levels are easy to see and tempting to use, but that's not where the magic is. People who come from a marketing background look at games and see a set of extrinsic motivators and reward schedules that can be lifted out and plunked down elsewhere. That's understandable, as because points, levels, status, and rewards are the automatic units of loyalty programs, a staple in the marketeer's playbook. Although loyalty programs are superficially similar to games, they look very different when viewed through the lens of intrinsic motivation. Trying to drive long-term engagement without extrinsic reward is a fool's errand. If metrics and rewards are your main event, you've got a shallow and or manipulative product that won't hold people's interest over time. Even worse, you might be dampening their creativity and enthusiasm without knowing it. Extrinsic rewards can devalue pleasurable activities. In his book on workplace motivation, Dan Pink summarized 3 decades of research into one compelling punchline. Extrinsic rewards are effective at getting people to complete simple, short-term tasks, but decrease effectiveness for creative tasks that require out-of-the-box thinking. Numerous studies show that extrinsic rewards can devalue otherwise pleasurable tasks like reading or drawing. For example, in one study, kids who loved reading were rewarded with points and money for completing chapters. Guess what happened? The kids completely stopped reading for pleasure. Unintended side effects can be brutal. It's easier than you think to kill off intrinsic motivation with external rewards. From game design to product design. The principles behind game thinking led to such breakthrough hit games as Rock Band, The Sims, and Covet Fashion. But if you're building a product, don't worry. These same principles led to products and services like Slack, Kickstarter, and Happify. Game thinking puts the skill-building power of games into the hands of product leaders. After helping innovate hits like Rock Band, The Sims, and Covet Fashion come to life, I now work with entrepreneurs worldwide, helping them use game thinking to innovate faster and smarter. Entrepreneurs like Megan Majdavi, CEO of Soundreach, who used game thinking to validate her idea for leveraging young talent in developing countries. While working a full-time job, Megan tested her idea and got some dishearteningly early feedback from her intended customers. Digging deeper, she found an adjacent high-need group who appreciated and embraced her model. Armed with this early validation, Megan quit her job and now runs a successful, high-growth SaaS consulting company that trains young people in Haiti and Palestine to become Salesforce engineers. Game thinking also helped offer Laidler and Tomer Ben-Kiki, serial entrepreneurs who sold a casual gaming company and were ready for their next challenge. They developed a game idea around the science of happiness, which we tested with several groups of high-need customers. We found a bucket of superfans to help tune our early systems. Happify is now the market leader in mental health and well-being services. Then there's Ronan Lackman, CEO of Play. Ronan and his team utilized game thinking to validate their idea for a community extension to their fast-growing toy rental service. We discovered that Play customers wanted educational video content, so we built an MVP video community and avoided spending resources on what people didn't want. Embrace and extend. Lean startup and design thinking. Through these experiences, I've learned firsthand that the same thing which makes a game successful can also make product successful. Your product. In this book, I will walk through the steps of game thinking, a process you can use to validate and develop your product idea. Game thinking embraces and extends existing product development methods. If you're a fan of lean, agile methods, you know how to refine and test your idea using the build, measure, learn circle. If you're familiar with design thinking, which I'm not, you know how to empathize with customers and use what you learn to prototype solutions that fill real customer needs. What game thinking adds to these methods is an innovation framework for finding early hardcore customers and taking them on a journey toward mastery. Discovery, onboarding, habit building, master. Oh, nice. The best products don't just fill a need. They help people get better at something they care about. Game thinking is a framework for building products that make your customers more powerful, knowledgeable, and connected. Like Lean Startup, game thinking is grounded in testing assumptions. And like design thinking, we start out in a problem space, an unmet need, and end in a solution space, how your product fills that need. 5 steps to product market fit. The 5 sections of this book cover the 5 steps of the game thinking process. Step 1. Hypothesize. Run smarter experiments by clarifying your product ideas and identifying your high-risk assumptions. Step 2. Empathize. Find hardcore early customers who are passionate about your product idea and can help you test your assumptions. Step 3. Design. Map out a path to mastery and learning architecture that takes your customers from beginner to expert. Step 4. Play test. Prototype your ideas using superfan insights, then run high-learning playtests to validate your assumptions. Step 5. Reflect. Summarize what you learned, how you learned it, and what you plan to do next based on your data. What you'll learn. Here are 3 things you'll learn in this book and will be able to apply to your own projects right away. What role game thinking plays in designing hit products. How applying game thinking methods to your product will help you long-term engagement and increase your odds of success. How the game thinking tool, a proven step-by-step system, can help you get reliably better outcomes from your innovation efforts. To start, we need to go back to the beginning, because that's where good results are. Okay, section 1, hypothesize. I think I'm gonna be leaving this book right now, and I'll be back for it later. It has been TudelaLearns with game thinking, and I may come back later to, I don't know, read another one maybe. It's been fun. Well, take care, and please subscribe, follow me, whatever you want to do. I'll be waiting.